That big chunk of money, $1.75 million, was supposed to go to the Maris brothers to complete a construction project here at St. Ambrose, a very major construction project that they're doing here, which was supposed to be completed in a month. You can see that taking place right here behind me. But when the construction company called asking where the payments were, the church knew that they were in big trouble. Immediately, the church called police and then the FBI, who is now investigating how hackers got 2 staff email lists. Now the church is making sure that something like this never happens again. They say before this, they regularly changed passwords and made sure that firewalls were up to date. After this, they are now in the process of hiring an IT security firm to review all of their systems. In a letter to members, the pastor wrote, "I have been sick about the situation and have been working as hard as possible to address every aspect of this problem. If I or we had any idea, any information that money was not being sent to the right account, we would have addressed it immediately." Now that there is a meeting for members of the church to come here to the church to ask any questions, address any concerns that they have, that meeting is Wednesday at 7.